I've achieved a lot in my life, but I'm sitting here today. The question I'd like to ask is, what can I do now to really know what it is that I want to do? And forgive me if you've already answered this question.
We never hear the same question twice, really, because your perspectives are unique enough. But we want to give you a little basis of something here, because when you say, I want to know what I want, the reason that sounds a little bit to you like it is a silly question, but it is not, is because without realizing it, you've created a picture or a creation. You've put together a set of preferences over such a long period of time that have been melding together, that have been acquiescing, that it truly is not possible for anyone to stand in their human form and accurately in any moment define what's in that vibrational escrow. It's just too big. And the reason that it's too big is because part of it was there before you even came forth into your physical body, intentions that you had set forth, general intentions by your physical standards, intentions such as having a good life, knowing my value, being an uplifter, connecting with who I am, utilizing my guidance system, feeling joy, having conscious expansion. In other words, all of that was set forth as an intention even before you got here. But then when you recognize that even at very early ages you were exposed to experiences that were, when someone was rude, you wanted the world to be nicer. When you were rude, you wanted to be nicer. When there was not enough of something, you wanted it to be more predominant. When there was something, in other words, you've been sifting through life and you've created something that by earth standards, and we say this lovingly, is indescribable. In other words, you just cannot wrap your physical thoughts around what you have set into motion. And so when you say, I don't know what it is that I want, if you'll step back and say, but this I do know. I want to be happy. In other words, speak from the general place that you do know. I want to be of value. I want to experience expansion. I want to feel the fun of it. I want to have a good time. I want to assist others. I want to savor it as I go along. I want to feel the confidence of knowing that I can be or do or have anything. And yet I want to stay appreciative of what I am being and doing and having. In other words, speak in the general terms, because we've noticed that when you speak, in other words, do you accept that this vortex is bubbling and boiling and that it is calling you to it? Do you understand that?
Yes.
So can you feel that if you are looking in the direction of it, but you are saying, I don't know what I want, can you feel how upstream that is? When you say, I can't find the way. When you ask questions like, how will it come and where will it come from and who will bring it and what will it look like? All of those questions just turn you into a resistant direction and don't let it unfold for you. But when you say, well, I know it'll be fun when I get there, and I know I'll recognize it when I see it, and I know it will constantly be unfolding, and I know it's not just one thing. I know it's just a series of life-giving events that make up the whole of my life. We like to tease our physical friend, and this is the best way of teasing you we have found on this point, where you've decided that you're going to go on vacation and you have your itinerary all planned out, and you're going to go to this city and 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 this city, and then you're going to come back home, and you look at it in this very objective, want to get where I'm going attitude, and you say, wait, my final destination is home, and I'm already there. Why go? I think I'll just check vacation off my list. And we say, you don't go on the vacation to get it done, and you didn't come here to get it done, and your life's purpose isn't something to get done. It's just an idea to focus upon and savor, because the experience of the journey is what life is. So often our physical friends say, I need to find out what my purpose is so that I can just go do it, so I can get to my purpose. And we say it's the getting to the ever unfolding purpose. Jerry and Esther were on the Whitewater Rapids in Colorado summer before last, and it was such a big day for them because it helped them to realize, first of all, the power of the river. In other words, once they got going, no one even considered pointing their boat upstream and paddling. It was clear the river was going to have its way with them. But they became aware of the thrill of the river. It was in the moment, a thrill. They weren't thinking about when they were going to take the boat out. They weren't thinking about the final destination. They weren't saying things to the river guide like, when will this be over? It was so full on. It was so full on, and it was so full fun. Esther said she wanted the river to have been 100 miles longer. In other words, it would have, the satisfaction of the thrill of it was so intense. And they didn't say to the river guide, well, where will we come out? And he would say, oh, downstream a few miles. And they didn't say, well, could we please put our raft on the bus and take it down the canyon, and we'll put it in the water just a few hundred yards from where we take it out, because we want to fulfill our purpose. We want to know where our destination is, and we want to get it done. He would have helped them, but he would have thought that they were a little nutty about it, because he would have said, I thought you wanted a ride on the river. And that's really the answer that we want to give to you. Whenever anyone asks for a purpose, it's like they're asking for that ending place of fulfillment. So we're going to give it to you in the clearest terms of the way you felt it. Your purpose is to be eternal. No ending. Your purpose is to have a joyful, never-ending ride again and again and again, another and another and another. Because all of your power is right here and now in this juncture where who you really are meets who you're letting yourself be, and all of the components. Can you see that creation isn't about seeing something that you want or a purpose that you or somebody seems to have assigned? There isn't any of that. But see my purpose, then figure out how to get me to it and it to me. It's that you've been throwing it over here into this vortex, and it is calling everything necessary for its completion to it, including you. And so when you say, the purpose, my purpose is joy. My purpose is joy. We say, the basis of your life is freedom. Your purpose or goal or objective must be joy. And the result will be eternal expansion. And we say that, and our physical friends say, we hear you, Abraham, growth, growth, growth. We say, yes, of course, growth. But your purpose is joy. We hear you, growth, growth, growth. We say, yes, of course, there will be expansion, but your objective is joy, as much as you can find here and now. Not yearning for what was, or not hoping for what will be, as much as you can ferret out of what's right here and now. Your purpose is to feel as good as you can feel right here and now. If you let that be your purpose. So you walk into a room, your purpose is to feel as good as you can feel. So you start appreciating the magnificence of the room. You start appreciating the order of the organization. You start feeling glad for bringing yourself here. You feel happy that there's a comfortable seat for you to sit in. You feel appreciation for the lights that make it possible for you to see, and the bigger image which makes it really possible for you to see, and you just look for reasons. You feel proud of yourself for getting yourself here, and you feel appreciation for whoever facilitated you, and you feel glad that whatever's going on at home is being taken care of, and you feel happy for the transportation that brought you here, and you feel exhilaration about your environment that allows such a venue, and you feel glad for your intuition and your point of attraction, that you managed to bring yourself to be part of such a powerful co-creation. And as you just make a small effort to look for reasons to feel good in your now, in other words, letting your goal, your objective, your purpose be finding something here and now where I am, where all my power is, feel good. Finding something here and now where I am, where all my power is, feel good. Finding something right where I am, whether you're thinking about the past or the present or the future, my objective, my purpose is to find something that feels as good as I can feel right now. Not as good as I've ever felt. We know it is irritating for us to go on and on and on so long, but we just want you to hear it, because you just can't miss it. That's all that matters. What's your purpose in life? Feeling good? What's your well, I thought you came to make the world a better place. No, it's a fine world. I thought you came to fix things that are broken. No, nothing's broken. We're having your dialogue with your friends. My purpose in life is my joy. Well, aren't you selfish, they'll say. Aren't you the selfish one? And what they mean is, I think you should satisfy my needs, not your own. They call you selfish while they want you to satisfy what they want. My purpose, your purpose is joy. As joyful as you can find it here and now. Is that hard to believe? Is it?
No.
So when you said, what's my purpose? What do you think you meant?
I have lots of things I thought I would like to do in my life, and I get distracted. But previously in my life, I have achieved things because I believe I was possibly aligned unwittingly and unconsciously.
Yes.
With the vibration
Yes,
that
it was easier to stay aligned when you didn't know so much.
That's exactly what I have just said at the break.
And when you weren't trying so hard. And when there weren't thousands of others saying, go this way, go this way, go this way, go this way, no, this way, no, this way, no, this way, no, this way. You get distracted from your feeling, and that's why we're being so emphatic about you got to not give a rip what others think, and sort of wean yourself from their approval and care how the thought feels until you show yourself that when you lean consistently in the direction of what feels as good as it can feel, it not only will it feel gooder and gooder and gooder and gooder and gooder, but things that you could not. Esther will say, even though she knows about law of attraction and she knows about who she was before, in other words, she can feel that she is source energy prior to this, and she remembers the history of her life. She knows what she's sifted through and has a sort of sense of what she's been asking for. But every day, on many occasions, some magnificent rendezvousing of spectacular events explodes and makes her say, can you believe that? Even though she knows that it is perfectly logical that it would happen. The other day, some wonderful friends that they do not know gave them a piece of music that they took back to their room, and they played it and played it and played it. And it was delicious and delightful and uplifting and connecting, and it made them want to play with it in some way. So Esther put it in her purse, and on the next trip that they were all making, as the troop is making it from one city to another, she asked the driver of the bus if he would put it in and play it, and he did. And as he played it, they sang. It's a simple melody, but it just made them happier and happier and happier and happier. And then their videographers said, oh, what about this idea, and what about this idea? And the ideas began expanding, and Esther could feel this swirling vortex over there. In other words, she often gets the feeling that there are all kinds of things in that vibrational escrow that she can't identify, but when you get in the vicinity of them, you begin to feel them. And so then their friend said, I knew a guy 30 years ago, and he had gone around the world, and he'd collected this wonderful footage of beautiful images, just happy people in simple settings. Wouldn't that just fit so perfectly with this music? And when he talked about it, they all closed their eyes. They could envision it. They were singing and imagining and moving down the road. And Esther said, do you think you could find that guy? And Mike said, I haven't seen him in 30 years. And Esther said, do you think you could find that guy? Do you think he still has some of that? And Mike called back and said, he Googled him, and he was 5 minutes from the hotel they were all staying at. And Esther said, can you believe that? And we said, yes. You have 15 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 or 80 or 90 or 100 or more opportunities ready to pop for you now. But you've got to be queued up for them. In fact, what is popping for you is only as good as you've been letting it be, you see. And there are so many of you who are in this heavy place of wanting to find your purpose. And when you say it, it's almost like, would you please guide me to my responsibility that I've been assigned to for this life experience, so that, and it wasn't quite that way with you, but it's almost the way you talk about your purpose. And when we speak of your purpose being joy, you say, no, I mean the responsibility part of life. And we want you to know there is no responsibility part of life other than aligning with who you are. That's your responsibility. Your responsibility, in fact, we will put it as emphatically as we can find words. You must let yourself be who life has caused you to become. And when you do, you will feel joy. So can you see how when you let your quest for joy be what motivates the direction of your thought, you've got a rendezvous with everything that was your purpose, the purpose that you put there before you were born, and the purposes that you've been putting over there ever since, and this wonderful congealing, coalescing, becoming of that which you are. If you feel a little dissatisfied, like you haven't found your purpose, what it always means is you're just not letting yourself be who you are. And you don't have to get over there and be it. You just have to move in the direction of it. It's only not moving in the direction of it that feels uneasy, because in the moment that you let go of the resistance and you allow yourself to begin to go, you feel good.